Good afternoon and welcome to the Saturday, June 4 edition of At the Table. This is your host, Kelly Lincoln. Yay! And want to wish you all a happy day. Hope your weather is fine for the folks that are listening out in the Midwest, in the South. You should have been ditching. I mean, yeah, the rains out there have really been something else. And what can I say? Climate change, all that good stuff. But that's not what I want to talk about. Um, I was supposed to go to be at it. I've been assisting slash interning for a rather well-known acting coach here in New York City, and this was supposed to be my last day interning for him because I go back to work next weekend. So if you're lucky, these will be new but pre-recorded shows that you will be listening to 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time and 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here on netrootsradio.com and Spreaker.com as a simulcast, or not. Uh, the Yeah, I'm going back to my weekend gig, which pays really great money until you realize that I'm only working 2 days a week for 30 weeks, and then you realize that holy shit, I am so far fucking below the poverty level. I am off. I don't even count. And but like I said, this was supposed to be a pre-recorded show, and I actually started the pre-record to go to the because I was going to be a class in a class today, and I twisted up my already damaged right knee, and I'm on painkillers right now, and not too mobile. So I did, and I couldn't do the stairs at the at the venue. Too steep, and there was no fucking way I was gonna. No, there was just no way. But anyway, I have worked with a lot of acting coaches. I have studied with them. I have interned with them. I've coached for them, and this particular coach is the only one I have ever encountered where even an actor's success that he has coached to a modicum of success is still all about him, and it's frustrating. I'm and I've talked about this before. There's a fellow out in California that I have worked with at Renaissance Fairs. Wonderful actor. He's now got his own studio, and the difference between him and this coach are so striking. When my friend in California, when one of his students, when one of the actors he is coaching, books a gig, he posts about it. He posts their name, what they have booked, and their photo, so everybody knows. When the coach here in New York has a actor who books, all he says is, "I am honored that one of my," and he doesn't even give that actor the respect to name him. One of our people did a Super Bowl commercial last year. We don't know who he was. All we know is that he did a Super Bowl commercial, which is really fucking good money. But we don't know who he was because this particular coach could not be bothered to actually respect that actor that much as to name him and post his photo of his headshot. And there were just 4 actors who are now SAG must joins, and he couldn't even be bothered to name them. And it's sad. And I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to go with that. But that's my little short little rant on acting coaches, egos, and the difference between a successful coach and, in my opinion, a not so successful coach. Um, I just don't know what else to say about that. Oh shit! Speaking of that, I forgot to make a phone call. Another coach here in New York is holding auditions for his next upcoming on-camera thing, and I forgot to give him a call. I have studied with that man. This man. I have also done some coaching and directing. In fact, I directed my first play here in New York in his studio, and for that I will be forever grateful. And the playwright, wonderful, talented lady, passed away a few years ago from Morgellons, uh, just in bad shape the last time I saw her. Um, I love acting. I love being around talent and really good coaches, and especially around acting coaches that acknowledge the success of their students by name, of the actors that they have coached to by name, and say this is really good. Not just honored to be blah blah blah, but it should be I am honored that Kelly Lincoln has one of the people I'm coaching, Kelly Lincoln, has just booked an ongoing role in blah blah sitcom, rather than honored that four of my students are now SAG must joins, or just booked a sitcom without saying what it was. Uh, okay, that's my bitch for today. There's a few more. Um, Going back to what I was originally talking about, which was having this show actually being pre-recorded. Uh, I actually managed, after spending a shit ton of money getting Pro Tools certified, and then walking into a studio here in New York City and saying and showing them my certificate, going, "Look, I am certified in Pro Tools." The engineer looked at me and said, "You don't need that." Uh, Thanks, but at least it shows I know how to use the software. That's always good. So anyway, Avid, which bought DigiDesign, which created Pro Tools, which is the studio standard for mixing, mastering, recording software. And there's a reason for that, because when Digi first was developing Pro Tools, they decided to give away a version of it that had limited plugins, and you didn't need special software, but you needed a dongle for it, called Pro Tools Free. And then if you wanted more um, plugin capabilities, more tracks, more flexibility in the software, they had a product called the M Box, and this was a nice little piece of software. It had two microphone line ins. The pre the pre's were done by Focusrite, and Focusrite or Focusrite. But there were but the internal hardware was awesome. It was great, and the more people who used the Mbox, they would then record their stuff through the Mbox, and then take their tracks to an engineering studio, and the engineering studio was unable to open the format. So the studio was then forced to go and invest heavily in DigiDesign's Pro Tools hardware, which was a couple of $1,000, and you'd get the software to run with it, and the software would only run with that hardware. And that is why DigiDesign. That's why Pro Tools is studio standard. You had to have the full blooded, full featured, all the plugins you would ever want to have and use were only there available for use if you had the several $1,000 software hardware. Um, so anyway, um, downloading Pro Tools. And the biggest bitch I had about Pro Tools, even the LE edition, especially the LE edition, was every time my Mac would have to update the operating system, or there would be a security update, because it required the M box, the hardware, to be physically attached to my computer. It had to have root, and it would break. The software would break every time Apple updated the software, their operating system, or there was a security update which broke uh, Pro Tools, and then I would have to sit around and wait for DigiDesign to to get around to deciding to update the software for the Mac, and by that time, whatever you were working on, the deadline has passed, and you were like fucked. I use my inbox in podcasting because I got better. I was able to control levels better than with a USB microphone, and I had was able to get some great audio recordings. Uh, the other big pain in the ass issue with Pro Tools that I had, even after spending all that money to be trained, was actually getting sound into it. You could have everything, all the inbox, everything, properly selected, and lo and behold, you'd be out talking and doing your interviews. You'd look down and you would see scrolling across the screen a line, which meant nothing. You wouldn't see any levels, nothing. And finally, I got so pissed off with that and it breaking that I went over to Logic and GarageBand. Actually started doing my podcast, recording my podcasts in GarageBand, because when you're just talking to somebody, you don't really need more than one line to do that, because it makes, especially if you're in GarageBand, makes your editing so much easier than editing two tracks of people talking and then trying to get them matched when you're editing shit up, because it can be a problem. But so I gave up on Pro Tools, and I finally got my new Mac. I want to thank both my tax refund and the folks over at Netroots Radio, especially our general manager, for helping me with that, and a friend of mine who works in Cupertino works for Apple. I want to thank her for getting me my Mac in an unbelievable amount of time. So I decided to give Pro Tools first, which is Pro Tools free under a new name and in a sleeker window. It looks better. Another try. And thankfully, they decided that they didn't. Well, Pro Tool, it does. They don't need to. They discovered that people weren't really happy about having to spend a lot of money in order to run the software, and only use that particular mix board when that's software. And so my mixer is now happily working with Pro Tools, and there were some issues with it, but now it's all nice and working. And then I had to spend an hour the other day, 2 days ago, trying to get the damn thing to recognize the mixer, and templates weren't sure. It was just awful, and it turned out with something really simple. And I went to Reddit, and I was just ready to throw the whole thing out the window again, and just stick to recording in through the mixer into GarageBand, which would actually let because more filter effects, and I couldn't in GarageBand you can't apply an effect as to a single portion of the track unless you duplicate the track. Yeah, that's the only drawback. You have to duplicate tracks in GarageBand in order to apply an effect to a single portion of the track. You have to duplicate that clip and then duplicate, and then you're fine. So it can be a little problematic. It can be a little more intense than most people are willing to do. The other thing is that if I want to do a video cast or a music, or I can, set my music up and then bring it into iMovie, or even Blender if I want to start playing around with 3D, and have, sorry about all the knocking around, all the and I can make a little movie. I can, have movies. I can't You can't do that in Pro Tools first. That's a given. You're stuck with the plugins that come with Pro Tools first. Um, and when you're podcasting, that can be a bit difficult because they don't even give you a preset on your for your music bed, so you for ducking. And that is like when you heard the music nice and loud, and then you heard me talking, and the music hopefully came down. Um, um, so but it does require you to have to learn how to use a compressor plug-in, create what's called a sidechain, and that's where you get that that nice pumping sound when you listen to like hip hop, rap, and EDM and all of that stuff. You get that nice pumping sound. So there's a learning curve to it, and to use pro, and if you really want to get into it, um, you can, and it's a good way to learn how to use plugins in this until you can afford Reaper or Digital Performer, or move up in on the Pro Tools food chain. Even though I'm hearing like unhappy Pro Tools users over the latest version, so I'm probably going to stick with Pro Tools free and not go to 12, and save my money and get Logic X, Logic Pro X, and continue working in that, because you stick with what you know. And when you learn one digital audio workstation music app, you pretty much know how all the others work, except there might be some different. There more or less will be differences in what key commands will do. Um, so it's just a matter of working with something that you like, and you can deal with. And again, you are listening to At the Table here on Netroots Radio and simulcast live on Spreaker. And if you're listening to us at netrootsradio.com, I love you guys. If you're listening on the TuneIn app, even which you can find, which is free for all Android phones at Google Play, and iOS devices at the App Store. The TuneIn app is really freaking awesome. If you are listening to us, there is a chat room, but I'm not capable of talking and typing at the same time. Um, Dead air or dead chat space, it's up to you. Um, but we do have a chat room, which you can find by going to the bottom of the netrootsradio.com homepage, and you'll see the link to our Kiwi IRC, and you can just chat in there. Also, at the bottom of netrootsradio.com, you will find our Patreon page for Netroots Radio. Become a supporter and help keep all our programming um, on the wonderful live talent that we have here on. Now, this is not a pledge drive, but I just got to give these guys a shout out because they're really freaking awesome. Justice and Wink, who have the after show after Keg Grow in the morning, um, and the Coffee Cast, and my show, and Musique Sans Frontières. None of us who have live shows are paid. We are actually the actual definition of amateur. We are doing it because we love it, and but we do need to keep servers happening. So become a Patreon and help us stay on the air by so we can pay the awesome people at Unity Networks on the San Carlos res in Arizona, and our tech dude over in London. Yeah, we are international. Coffee Cast is by some couple of awesome folks up in Canada, and our general manager is upstate New York. I'm here in Manhattan. Our program director is out in Oregon, and we are just truly an international progressive radio station, and we love your support. I would love your support. I have a Patreon page, so you can help me pay my bills if you feel entitled to, and who knows. I have offered. I'm just going to give up the sales pitch. I'll do that at the. I'll repeat myself at the end of the show. Um, Pain and pain medications does that to you. Gets you. It puts me all over the map more than I normally am. So I hope you're enjoying my blather fest. Um, and then yesterday, I don't often cry at the passing of famous people, but when I heard the news of Muhammad Ali's passing, I cried. I'm 61. I grew up in the 60s. I remember when Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, uh, defied the draft board and said, I don't believe in this war. I'm not going. And he paid a incredible personal price for that, in terms of being stripped of his titles. He was banned from boxing. He was vilified in the press. And I admired him for that. I was active in the anti-war movement at that time. Well, I was in high school, but I hated. But it seemed I couldn't. I did have a philosophical issue with his saying he wasn't going. He didn't believe in the war, and I was trying to resolve that statement with the fact that this was a man who went into a boxing ring and fought, you know, other people, one on one. I just didn't understand that dichotomy at the time, but I grew to understand that there was a difference. There is a difference between two people voluntarily stepping in a ring to duke it out, and human beings going and fighting for each other, fighting against each other. And he said, and he had a great point, and this is what angered a lot of people. A lot is that he couldn't be mad at the Vietnamese because they never called him that pejorative word that he was called here in America. That I understood. And a lot of white people in the North, not just in the South, but in the North, couldn't understand that because that particular word was not exclusively used in the South. It was a pejorative word that was, and still is, because I've heard it here in New York City today, around this country. And there is something so basic about this man's Americanism. He, like our founding fathers, the men who signed the Declaration of Independence, they not only put their lives, their wealth, and their honor on the line for an ideal. Some lost everything and died in poverty. Some went on to become even wealthier. But they put their bodies, they put themselves on the line for an ideal. And this is what Muhammad Ali did. And I admired that. And in a Facebook post, I wrote, yes, He was a black man. Yes, he was a Muslim. He was a member of he was a member of the Nation of Islam. But first and foremost, to me, he was an American. I look at what he endured and realized he was a man of great character. And has, he had been over the decades, as Martin Luther King said, hoped for, was judged by the content of his character. And he was a very, very honorable man, and there was never scandal attached to his name. He was never, hypocrisy was not in his vocabulary, was not part of him. And when I see on Twitter people claiming his blackness and saying he doesn't belong to you because I understand the mindset of ownership. They These younger people, in my opinion, don't comprehend what he endured, for what he went through, and what he taught every American. Just as we cannot ignore the obvious about ourselves as humans and what our skin color is. He educated America to look past that. I know he educated me. And that is what's important. Yes, I can see the outer portion of you. I can't help but see that. But I can look past that to know who you are as a human being. And that is what is important. And that's what he taught me. And hopefully he taught a lot of other Americans that. He was a fighter. And just the good grace and humor and wit that he that he had was amazing. Yes, he is the greatest. He was beautiful. He is beautiful. And he will forever float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And somewhere along the line, I'm going to find that really awesome song. Um, there was a ballad of him called Black Superman, and it was 70 in the early 70s. It was written, and I forgot to cue it up. But it's up on YouTube, and I urge everybody to go and listen to that song, and then go and listen to his recording of "Stand by Me." He was an amazing human being, and America needs more Americans like Muhammad Ali. Baruch Hashem, my friend. And la 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 la. Now for something really cheery. It's the bottom of the hour. Aren't you lucky? I'm going to give you some music, and I know you guys are really fucking tired of hearing the same music. I need to get some more pod safe stuff, but I love this stuff. La 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 la. I'm going to give you some Becky Yates featuring Enhance and Heart on My Sleeve here on At the Table. I actually found the recording Muhammad Ali Black Superman song, so I'm going to play that for you now. Uh-oh. Like dead air to me. Oop. This is not good. Anyway, well, anyway, I tried. I'm sorry about that, boys and girls. Um, and it's plugged in properly and it's routed. See, that's what I get for trying to. Well, anyway. So I am also welcome back. I was hoping to have Muhammad Ali floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. Muhammad, the black Superman. You can. I love that song. Anyway, I kind of fucked that up. Oh, I know what I did. Let's try that again. Da, 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 da. I had it on mute. No wonder. We're gonna try that again. You're gonna love this song. This is the time when they wrote ballads about people, man. Hope you can hear this. He knows how to fight. And all the contenders were beat out of sight. Sing Muhammad Ali. He floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. Muhammad, the black Superman, who calls to the other guy. Catch me if you can. Now all you fight fans, you've got to agree. There ain't no flies on Muhammad Ali. He fills the arena wherever he goes, and everyone gets what they pay for. Muhammad was known to have said, "You watch me shuffle and I jab off your head." He moves like the black Superman and calls to the other guy, "I'm Ali." Catch me if you can. He says, "I'm the greatest the world's ever seen, the heavyweight champion who came back again. My face is so pretty, you don't see a scar, which proves I'm the king of the ring by far." Sing Muhammad Ali. He floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. Muhammad, the black Superman, who calls to the other guy, "I'm Ali." Catch me if you can. Sing Muhammad Ali. He floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. Muhammad, the black Superman, who calls to the other guy, "I'm Ali."
Catch me if you can. I'm Ali. Catch me if you can.
And that was Muhammad Black Superman song and this was written in 1975 um, by Johnny Wakelin and the Kinshasa Band, and it was released on the Pi label again in 1975. So this is also some very early ska, and I just love that song. I love that song. It's one of my. It's I grew up with this man, and I mean, if you want to, I mean, you can go online and hear his. You can see some of his fights are available on. You can see on YouTube. All you need to do is look for them. I know there's. I know you can see the Frazier Ali fight. I think the Rumble in the Jungle between him and George Foreman. I think the Thrilla in Manila was Frazier and Ali, and of course there was the famous fight between him and Sonny Liston, and he was just an amazing human being. Condolences to the family. Now, what else am I going here? So off the Bodleian. Woo! Yes. What else is there to talk about? It's kind of dreary here in New York City. It's a dreary day in New York City. I'm being silly here. And oh, my I actually went through all of the shit I wanted to go through. Okay, now, oh yeah, other cool shit. Oh yeah, I'm been working on this web series for God knows how long, and I've got one episode written, and I was talking with an actor friend of mine, a working actor friend of mine, who actually gets paid to act. That he does, that he doesn't have to do anything else. I so envy him. So we were talking, and I was, telling him about, talking to him about my the web series, and he was asking me questions that, because I don't have anybody here to collaborate to brainstorm with, I had not thought of, and supposed to have actually rewritten it by yesterday. 2 days. He gave me 2 days to rewrite it, and between my asthma and my ADD sidetracking me, which it does a lot, I didn't get it written. But I was running scenarios through my head while lying in bed late at night, 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe I should go back to like being up all night and writing, because that's when I get most of my shit done. Rearranging my room and all the other good shit. Do you guys ever do that? I mean, decide to like clean at 3 o'clock in the morning, vacuum, do your dishes, rearrange your bedroom, your house, rearrange the furniture. That's what that's actually how I fucked my knee up. Um, but it's how I do things. It's like I can usually the other thing is too is that for me, if I'm writing at night, it's because there are far fewer distractions. TV is not as interesting because Murder She Wrote segues into Heart to Heart on Antenna, and I was never a huge fan of Heart to Heart. I preferred the cheesier shit like Murder She Wrote. Johnny Carson on no, no, Johnny Carson on Antenna. Yeah, they're rerunning the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and on Antenna. And Murder She Wrote is on the Hallmark Mystery Channel. And I just recently became enamored of the Science Channel, and I spent all day yesterday, because I only work weekends. watching Science Channel and and the program, How the Universe Works, which is fucking awesome. And then late at night, really late at night on the Science Channel, it is the Mythbusters. I freaking love the Mythbusters. I don't know about you, but I was at the Rally for Sanity and or Fear in 2010. It was 2010, I think so. And they were part of the pre-show, and they were. It was so much damn fun. We actually created a groundswell. What they did was, and they measured it. They measured it, and what they had everybody, all 1,500, 2,000 of us do was jump at the same time, and they measured it on a Richter scale, and we actually and all of us there actually that jump generated the same amount of activity as a car crashing into a wall at like 25 miles an hour or something like that. It was like really amazing. And it was, and science, man, science. We learned science. And that's what made it so fun. And I'm sad it's no longer actively being um, done, but I understand that one of the dudes is doing a new show, which should be awesome and fun. And can't wait for that. We'll be talking about that. Last night's the episode I watched last night of MythBusters was about drifting. They were going to bust the myth of two shows. One was does drifting in a car actually is that actually faster than just doing normal hairpin normal driving technique in a turn. And they actually busted the myth. They I watched them just totally destroy a car. Actually, just I mean, it was they were like duct taping it together because they kept crashing into the barriers and stuff. And yeah, they busted the myth. It's actually slower, and they actually had a professional stunt driver do this on a course, and it was actually like 10 seconds slower than regular race driving, cornering as a race car, which was really interesting. And they were actually having a lot of fun just making their car fall apart. The other episode that I watched was had to do with whether or not a tanker car that was in a total vacuum would collapse under the pressure. That was like vacuuming all the air, the steam, and all of that. And they made 3 attempts. The first attempt was on a new tanker car, rail car, and it did not implode. Then they figured, well, maybe the tanker car needs to have some corrosion, on it or something. So they brought in another tanker car, and that too did not implode. Then they got the idea to take like a 32-pound concrete block, hoist it into the air on a crane, and then drop it onto the tanker and see if maybe the damage would allow it to implode. And sure enough, that thing frickin' pancaked in the middle. It was like really cool watching this. It was so cool. I love science. I love science, and I think the Science Channel is going to become my go-to channel rather than watching all these stupid crime shows because you don't learn anything. Um, and also there's some really freaking cool shows on this channel like building stuff, how to build almost anything, and we're going to show you how to build a rocket ship. We're going to show you how to build a tank, and what it's got to be fun. Science. I mean, I love science. I don't. I hope you guys do too. And people. Well, what do we need math for? We need algebra for. Well, geometry allows pitch is what makes a pitcher a good pitcher. He can go with the variables and all of that. Calculate. You've got it's important whether you realize it or not. You use math every single day, in algebra every single day, advanced mathematics every single day, whether you realize it or not. Like when you eyeball something when you're cooking, You're still using math when you're rearranging your room. You're still using math, geometry. How does this look? The angle right? Photography, law of thirds, law of, you know, it's music, is mathematics. Gotcha. And it, it, I'm having despite my blithering and the painkillers, I'm having a good day. Hope you guys are too, in spite of the fact that it's trying to decide if it's going to rain or not. And it's overcast and the clouds are gray. It's what if you were using film in Kodachrome. It's a high contrast day. It's a Kodachrome day, maybe. It's actually a high contrast day. Go out there with with your camera and set it. Do the manual settings, which you can do even on a smartphone camera. On the I don't know about Android, but on iOS there is an app called uh, ProCam, and it will give you like actual controls. You can adjust the ISO, the white balance, um, the shutter speed. It's a great application, and if you don't have it on your phone, you should get it. There should be something similar to it for Android. I don't know. I haven't had an Android phone in a really long time because I want a phone that I don't have to worry about is the app going to work. But it allows you it allows you to use the camera more um, creatively. Um, and it's like working with a small compact digital SLR when that also gets me. People who buy like the digital SLRs and then just don't then never take it off of auto where it's all done for them. Why are you spending the money on the camera? Um, I have a Canon EOS 20D and I've got a Canon G10 and I only use the auto modes for specific things. But a friend of mine, you know, you know, re-upped me on using, ISO settings and shutter settings. And I have much more fun using the settings and using the manual settings and tweaking everything because it's a lot more fun. And then you get a shot you like and you've got to fucking remember how you did that. Well, it's the way it is. The that's when you're doing new things and you're out you're trying new things, experiencing new things. See, I would love to jump out of an airplane, do one of those parachute, like the with the parachute, of course, just not jump out of the plane without it. I think sometimes I have to qualify. I think I need to qualify what I say to people because literally. And I actually think um yeah. I'm having a good blathery day. Um, we I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but you knew that anyway. Cut that out, and I'm going to see what's coming up for us in the next week, folks. Um, yeah, there's it's kind of I don't know what's going up in my life. It's like I'm just talking out my ass now, which is probably well, don't know what else to say to you guys. Um, um I'm going to play you a little bit more music because I'm kind of worded out. This is uh, Chitin Mara at Killer Owl. Animus, Animal, Anima. What the heck? I don't see anything playing here. Is it playing or is it not? Okay, I'm hearing it through my headphones, but not through. This is kind of weird. Okay, we're gonna stop that because there's nothing happening there. Da, da. Let's try Savior again by Becky Yates. I hope you all can hear this. I don't know. Can you guys hear that or not? This is kind of really, really weird. I'm not doing anything different than I've done before. But nobody heard me. I'm walking out the door. I think I'm going to play you guys out. Thank you for listening. This is Kelly Lee. Oh, yeah. You can follow me on, I'd love it for you guys to follow me on the Twitter machine at yeah, my Twitter handle is ATT Show. Like my Facebook page, facebook.com/masterlesspeople. Oh, I just heard thunder. I can hear the rumble. So gonna like hopefully play you out with this. Have a good one, folks. Enjoy your weekend. I think I've heard this before. La la la. Stay tuned for Katie Speak here on netrootsradio.com. La da 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 bow.